Today we're going to discuss an interesting dynamic, and that's the one between Michael and Dave. And it's interesting because Michael is a notorious bank robber and Dave's a corrupt FIB agent. So Michael, as we know, worked out a deal with Dave to set up his crew and leave the criminal life, and they had their little arrangement, and then Michael got out, spent a decade away from crime, but then Dave, understandably frustrated, shows up at Michael's house after finding out that he's back in the game. And this is where the title of this video comes in. Dave seems like he's looking out for Michael, and from their phone call, which is triggered if you call Dave after the mission complications, they do seem like they're somewhat friendly. But really, Dave is looking out for Michael in order to look out for himself by association. Just like Dave says in Dead Man Walking, if the truth about the deal gets found out by the greater FIB, God forbid the IAA, Michael's either getting shot or he's going to jail for life, and Dave is probably going to prison for a few years since he was an FIB agent and all, but he will never have his job even when he does get out. So it's clear to say that none of them want the secret to be out because both of them would be royally fucked, to say the least. During the mission Dead Man Walking, Dave goes to Michael and sort of spins his words in order to get Michael to do some dirty work for him. Now, this type of thing isn't something a friend would normally do, am I right? And this is exactly my point. Dave is all nice to Michael over the phone before shit goes down, but as soon as it does, Dave kind of twists shit his way so that he can have Michael do work for him. Then during missions like By the Book, Three's Company, and Blitzplay, Dave is mostly just on the sidelines listening to whatever Steve says, and it's clear that Michael doesn't have any say in it. Neither does Dave, really, now that I think about it. It does, however, seem like Dave is at least trying his best to balance things out, so I will give him that, and that doesn't really start to show until after the FIB raid, and Dave, in a phone call, tells Michael that he's doing what he can for him in order to get Steve off of Michael's back, and this is an instance where I think that Dave is actually genuine. Same goes for the wrap-up mission. Real quick though, before we get to that, I want to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video if you're enjoying it right now. Also check out my second Kingdom Hearts channel if that's some sort of content you are interested in. Now, this part can also be interpreted as Dave trying to save his own ass again. I do, however, think that at least partially he wants Michael to make it out of this for his sake as well, not only for his own selfish needs. I mean, hell, the moment Steve shows up and starts shit, he tries to have both Dave and Michael arrested, of course, and Dave, without hesitation, while standing next to Michael, points the gun right at Agent Sanchez and tries to chill things out, which not a good way to go about it, but that's besides the point. I don't know why I'm rambling. I do think that in this situation, Dave probably could have just fucked Michael over and handed him in to Steve and maybe work out some sort of deal with Steve. This is where I am a bit conflicted though, because on one hand I think that Dave didn't turn Michael in partially out of selfish reasons, as he didn't really trust Steve to get him out of hot water if Michael was going to be arrested and Dave not. But on the other hand, Steve did order Sanchez to arrest both Dave and Michael, so this too could be interpreted as Dave trying to save his own ass again. So in conclusion, I do think that while Dave and Michael throughout the game were somewhat friendly towards each other and weren't really close to being as hostile as, let's say, Steve and Michael, I do think that it's safe to assume that if things went south and either Michael or Dave had to turn one another in to save themselves, that would have been the case. And I do think that is something that both Dave and Michael were aware of, but they were probably glad that it never came to that, allowing them to stay at least casual friends and talk on the phone and check in on each other every now and then over the course of the years after GTA 5's story. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. Leave your thoughts and opinions on this topic in the comments down below. Until next video stream, bye bye.